Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, where I not only try and explore the latest tech trends and how they're transforming multiple industries, but I also want to hear from startup founders, inspirational stories, so other startups listening at various stages of their journey can listen and be inspired and want to follow in their footsteps too. So if you have your own startup, I promise you, not only will you be inspired by today's guest, if you need a bit of help or a friendly voice at the end of it all, he will also make himself available for a conversation with you. So today's guest keeps appearing on my radar. I've read about him on Shopify.com, Geekwire.com, TechCrunch.com, and even heard him on numerous podcasts. So I thought it was about time we got him on this show today. And he's the founder and CEO of a company called Logic Inbound, and they're a digital marketing agency based in Seattle. But that's just the beginning of his story. I mean, his startup began at just 19, and he's been on the road to success ever since. He's a genuinely great guy. Like I said a few moments ago, anyone listening who's on their own startup journey will not only love the conversation, but hopefully also find it incredibly valuable too. But I don't want to reveal too many spoilers, but trust me when I say you're in for a treat today. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to sunny Seattle so we can speak with my new friend Vlad, who also happens to be the CEO of Logic Inbound. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Vlad Mkrtumyan. And I'm actually an up-and-coming entrepreneur. I've basically started, this is my third company. The last two, I failed forward, so to speak. So my first was when I was 19. I started an Android app company with my cousin, got 300,000 downloads, 30,000 monthly active users. And then we got, money, but it was maybe about $1,000 to $2,000 per month in profit, which wasn't enough to live on. So then I pivoted from that to a B2B company, which was was a real estate CRM company. So that was basically, my next kind of lesson in business, which was, I couldn't monetize well enough in the first. The other company I could monetize, but I simply didn't have enough clients. So hence, it was growing, but not fast enough. It was linear. It was also a tech company, but one of my friends wanted some marketing. So that's when I started Logic Inbound, and we're an SEO agency today. Just hit over 100,000 visitors to our website, and we're growing 10% month over month.
I'm so glad you mentioned your first startup there. Achieving 300,000 downloads on the Android App Store with 30,000 monthly active users, all from the age of 19. And also I've seen you on Shopify.com, Geekwire and TechCrunch and so many other different sites. And I think if we do have any startup founders on their own tech startup journey listening to us today, your story will really resonate and inspire them in equal measure. So can you just share a little bit more about that backstory and the lessons you learned along the way?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's so much to talk about, Neil. So in terms of the backstory, it was the apps we started was, the first app was Bruce Lee quotes, and it was kind of by accident, kind of not. So, we did all the little tiny, lemonade stand, random stuff when we were growing up, me and my cousin, who's my partner, and he's really smart. In middle school, he built his middle school's website, so I was like, this is a really smart guy. I should work with somebody like him. And then basically what happened was I saw that there was Chuck Norris quotes on the Android App Store, but there wasn't Bruce Lee quotes. and I love Bruce Lee. At least growing up, I really did. So basically, I still like him. He's awesome. So I was like, why don't we have these on the Android App Store? My cousin was like, I could build that. It would be a free quotes app. So we just did it. We tried to provide value into the market. And, if anything, I always try to revert to that mentality. If I'm ever in trouble, it's like provide value into the market and it will return. If it's actually valuable, people will want to pay you for it. So that's what we did with the Bruce Lee quotes app. And we got 1,000 downloads in the period of about 2 weeks. And then after that, my cousin was like, well, that was fun. What do we do now? And I said, hey, how about we just do 30 more of these apps? Because, we already have the template. We already have the code. It's just a different face and different words. So then we did, Drake, Mike Tyson, which we had to take down because there's some bad Mike Tyson quotes we had on there through our system we built. As people said, take it down. We did Shakespeare, we did public figures, Eminem, and we did this kind of these like fan apps, and they were making us money at the time, and that was basically kind of how we got into it. And also I like to say that we were too young for anyone to really know. Like, our parents didn't know what we were doing, so we were too young for anybody to tell us we can't do something, which I think is important. I think it's important to obviously focus on action. There's a lot. In fact, I was thinking about it this morning. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, because it's so easy to get on podcasts and all this nowadays, that haven't really done enough, and that are more focused on kind of the written side, the exposure part, but not taking action. So we were just focused on taking action. And the important part about, having supporters and people tell you can do something, I mean, it makes it much easier, especially if they've done it before. So, if there's a first-time startup co-founder, et cetera, I'd definitely like to say, reach out to mentors, reach out to people that have done something that you want to do, or something similar in a field that you admire. I actually just posted on my Facebook this morning a Steve Jobs quote, and basically, because I was, watching some of his stuff yesterday, and it says, quote, "Most people never pick up the phone. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people who do things versus those who dream about them."
That's so true. And I'll chuck a quote straight back at you there. When you pour water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. When you pour water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Water can drip and it can crash. Become like water, my friend.
Bruce Lee, that's a Bruce Lee quote. Going with the flow. I love that. Yeah, that's an awesome quote. Yeah.
So I mean, what were the biggest lessons that you learned on your startup journey, do you think?
Oh, definitely. I would say make sure that you're not afraid to pivot. Like, I haven't made it yet, I'm going to consider myself making it when my business gets to, 8 figures. We should actually hit 7 figures pretty soon coming up. Yeah. And then I can call myself an entrepreneur. I have a mentor who said, until you make it to 7 figures, then, you'll be able to get me lunch. But before then, like, we've got employees, we've got 10 local people, et cetera, but still. But the biggest lesson is, be able to pivot. The way I've been able to get to this point is, we started in business to consumer, B2C. We were making money, but not enough. So we weren't afraid to switch to business. And then we weren't afraid to switch to this marketing agency now that's taking off. And, we're consistently growing. So it's, don't, if you have to be focused to get the job done. But if you're too focused and you have, narrow-sighted vision like a telescope, you're not going to be able to take advantages of the opportunities that are around you. So if there's ever a bigger opportunity, right, you got to know when to take that risk, when you feel it in your gut. And a lot of, lessons, Neil, this is a never-ending podcast at that point. But, a lot of the ways that we were able to make these pivots is whenever I hear somebody doing a startup and it's failing, right, or failing is just a dumb word, right, like it's just feedback. They're just not making progress. But if they're not getting where they want to be, it's because they don't have clear deadlines. I feel like deadlines are like forgotten about today in some of my meetings. I always try to ask for deadlines. So like, if you want to do a startup, think of everything you do in your company as a test, right? So you can be objective about it. Don't fall in love with it. So if you want to, let's say, start your own podcast like Neil here, right? Which is awesome, right? Yeah. Say, okay, by this date, I will have interviewed X amount of people, right? And if I haven't, then I will seriously look at, not doing that because it's not for me. I haven't executed on it properly. And if, once that date rolls around and if you haven't hit your goal, either change your tactic or, set another deadline and say, hey, look, by this date, if I haven't had, this success metric with my podcast I want to see, I'm going to completely, I'm going to stop doing it. I think a lot of people, they just have like a dream that, they don't hold themselves accountable to fulfilling. So like, for instance, I know someone who has a goal of being, a very successful real estate agent. But it's hard to see that she's not hitting her goals, and this is a very close person to me, but it's hard to see that she's not hitting her goals every year. And it's been like 4 years, It's not that you can't start your own business. It's just that, like, if something's not working, right, you've got to definitely make the shift. The other biggest lesson, I would say, is when you're younger, right? And I'm 27, so maybe I'm still young. But when you're 19, et cetera, whatever. Right now is the youngest you'll ever be, right? Take those risks. You'll never, like, experiences are just infinitely valuable. So like at 21, with my second company, SkyReal, even though it failed forward, we made maybe about $15K a month in that business max. I got into a negotiation with the VPs of John L. Scott, and we were talking about a $250,000, $500,000 contract for a software company. Not many 21-year-olds are going to have that experience of being in that negotiation, having that kind of pressure, and that's what allowed me to close a 6-figure website deal. Because when I walked into that deal, and I had a hoodie on, and everybody was running suits, and I was like, I got this. This is easy. So take those big risks. If you focus not on getting value from others, right? Because everybody wants to get something, right? I'm not going to pretend like, Neil, if you want to give me a Lamborghini tomorrow, I'll take it, right? But if you focus on putting value out there, giving value to others and how to provide value to them, right? Then you will actually, over time, build up a skill of doing that, right? Whether it be connecting people, creating software, whatever, right? Connecting people for me is the easiest thing I can do myself. It's what I really love to do. If you focus on that skill of creating value for others, then you will build a huge wheel of value, a value chain, so to speak. And that's, I think, a huge thing a lot of people overlook because they're so short-sighted, and want results overnight. I mean, there's so many lessons, Neil. I mean, this is that question.
Yeah.
Biggest lessons. Here's the biggest lesson of all is there's no one little secret to business. Right? The world's not that simple. It's not a light switch, right? Success is a never-ending journey. Like for instance, I was just completed an ultra marathon or 31 miles 2 days ago, right? But I didn't just have that one little goal on there. I basically started a little bit by a little bit. Now my fitness journey is continuing, just like financial journey or whatever.
Now, outside of your business as well, you also run 5 different meetups ranging from cryptocurrency to web development and spend your free time doing what you love, which is connecting people. So can you tell me more about that and why it's so important to you?
Yeah, Neil, great question. And I think maybe you share this, I don't know. But connecting people to me is really my passion because when I was in college, first, I came to America as an immigrant, and I love the country because it's so great for, starting businesses, and being an entrepreneur and or my journey to getting to when I consider myself fully one. But basically, I think it's important to connect people because the world is people. That's how the world spins. And if you connect to the right person, they'll change your whole life. Yeah. And I don't know about you, Neil, but I mean, that's happened to me infinite amounts of times, in my life, and it'll continue doing that. So I think one of the best gifts you can give somebody else is the gift of a connection to another person that can do the same thing for them. It's what people tell me I'm good at. It's what I love to do. When I came to this country as an immigrant, as I said earlier, I could barely, I couldn't speak English. I had to learn, in middle school, and I was kind of not the talkative blabbermouth that you hear before you today. So basically, I didn't speak the language. I was too shy. I was too in my shell. People thought I was an introvert, but really, over the years when I went to high school and college, I became a tour guide, and I just started talking to more people and realizing the value of these connections. So these meetups are my way of giving back to people. They're all free. My favorite being Cofounders Connect, by the way, for anyone out there that's interested in co-founding a startup. Especially in Seattle, I've helped build up this local ecosystem of angel investors, venture capitalists, serial entrepreneurs that are all very kind and giving and able to answer emails and give people their time. And we have monthly events, and it's got close to 4,000 meetup.com members now and over 1,000 on Facebook. Cofounders Connect was the first one I started. But yeah, connecting people is just, I only focus on 3 things: health, wealth, and relationships. And, relationships, can help the other 2. I think they're the most important.
They really are, and I completely agree with everything you say there, and that's exactly why I do this show as well every single day of the week. And the same reason that Gary Vaynerchuk as well, and his whole philosophy of the jab, jab, hook, give, and ask. And of course,
I think that's why he's following me on Twitter, actually. Yeah. That's one of my
is he? Have you got Gary V following you?
Yeah, he's following Cofounders Connect, actually.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And of course, if we go back to Bruce Lee and bring this full circle, I think he said, "Real living is living for others too," and it's so true.
Wow, that is you're crushing it, Neil. I'll tell you that.
Now, Logic Inbound is a digital marketing company, but can you tell me more about your business, what problems you're solving for customers, what tech you're using, and ultimately, what makes you guys different from other digital marketing companies out there?
Fantastic question, Neil. So basically for Logic Inbound, we on the website, it's digital marketing, and we probably refer, I would say, a vast majority of the deals that come to us because we just focus on search engine optimization. So Google organic traffic, organic traffic from Google, not their paid, and all the other search engines out there. And what makes us different from other, agencies is that we actually build our own, number one, internal software that gives us a competitive advantage through other agencies. So my tech background, those risks I took when I was younger, building software with my cousin, were actually helping us now. And it gives us a competitive leg up. Number two, unlike other agencies, we actually also get visitors. So as I mentioned earlier in the interview, we just hit 100,000 visitors to our website that we're going to hit. We're going to hit about 110K this month, and we're growing 5 to 10% in visitors month over month. That's actually getting us clients. We eat our own dog food, so to speak. So basically, those are some big differentiators for us. It's my most successful company yet. The other tools that we're using for search engine optimization, besides using our own that we've built out, we're using tools like Ahrefs, Agency Analytics, Moz. I don't know. Have you heard of Moz, Neil?
No, I haven't.
Moz is one of the biggest SEO companies out there for search engine optimization. We do some light conversion rate optimization stuff too, because once you get traffic, you need to convert it. But really, we also refer that stuff out. The thing we're really good at is getting organic traffic, pushing traffic to people.
Now, what I noticed straight away about you guys as well is that you serve multiple industries such as e-commerce, healthcare and service businesses, just to name but a few. And I'm curious, despite the different backgrounds, are there any trends in the kind of problems that marketers and CEOs are facing in these industries? And also, how are you actually helping them overcome those challenges?
Interesting question here. So in terms of, serving multiple industries, the reason I don't specialize in one, right, such as like I have a friend who does dentists, and he does everything for dentists, right? We like to do multiple industries because if something happens to one industry, we're still in business, so to speak. And then for, the challenges that these business owners are making, they go back down to, when I was 19, 20, 21, the exact same challenges every day, right? Yeah. How do I get more customers, and how do I get profitable customers? That's why I'm so passionate about solving this problem. Is because that's what I struggled with early on is, getting the clients in the door and getting them to pay me. So the way we solve that obviously is by focusing on what kind of organic traffic, what their clients are basically typing in on Google. So what's interesting is I think it comes down to, even if before search engine optimization, because search engine optimization is really just an extent of what is that? Knowing your customer. If you know your client, right? You know what they think about through the whole buying decision-making process around your industry. It's going to give you kind of a huge advantage. Not even kind of. It'll give you a huge advantage on getting their business and thriving. So those are the problems we're solving, and those are the problems that they all have, in common. So, and obviously the way we're, helping them overcome those challenges, we're driving those visitors to their website, and based on that, we have Google Analytics installed, conversion rate tracking, we have that installed, and as they're making their purchasing decisions, etc., we can give them more information about what their users like to read, what their users are typing in, etc. Sometimes what the business owner thinks they need to rank for online to get clients is completely opposite of or different. I would say not opposite, but completely different of what they really actually need to rank for.
well, depending on your viewpoint, technology is either going to disrupt business or it's going to transform businesses. And every business is being transformed by technology and everything is evolving. So how do you see technology transforming your business and enable it to evolve over the next few years? Because straight away, one of the big things that I would think is coming your way, of course, is voice search and search engine optimization to voice search. I mean, where do you begin with that?
That's another great question, Neil. So basically, in terms of voice search, we've actually already begun discussion about building software around it. Ironically, right, Google is a tech company in and of itself. So SEO, we already are a tech company, but technology is, constantly evolving and I would say enhancing companies. So, I think the future is voice search. So Alexa, like Alexa, find me a pizza shop, or Alexa, or whatever, Siri, where can I go, get my laundry done, or whatever, dry cleaning. I think that search is going to be very valuable, a valuable play in SEO, and that's something we're going to definitely talk about specializing in today. I actually just got off of a meeting a week ago with one of my mentors who actually exactly talked about voice search. So, the name in technology is, it's never a long-term game, right? Yeah. It's a game where maybe every 10 years, 20, max 30 years, and 30 years is like insane. As time goes on, it gets disrupted faster and faster. The name of the game is really staying current and on top of the trends. So, voice search is coming up faster. Also, Google is always going to be kind of providing some automatic results. So, for example, they'll suggest answers before you even, go through the search engine's results. So we're being wary of that. And we actually rank for their auto suggestions sometimes, on the search rankings. But at the end of the day, right, everybody's, I feel like, is always going to be searching something online or using a device to search something, right, to connect from one website to another. And really, our job as a company is to find out, how does your client, right, connect from one website to another, through, clicking on different links, and how do we get those people to click on links that go to your website, which is really SEO, versus clicking on, paid ads. There's 3 places you can click on links, right? We get them to click on those links.
Now, I also know, of course, Logic Inbound helps with e-commerce. So if we have anyone listening that's thinking of starting their e-commerce store on the web, I need the answer to the golden question: Shopify versus Wix. Which is better for making an online store? But I suspect there ain't going to be one answer to this.
Yeah, right. Obviously, it depends on, what you're looking for, but easily I would say Wix. Yeah. Sorry, Jesus, that's the wrong answer. Shopify. Easily I would say Wix should not be considered. Shopify is one of the best things to basically, platforms to use whenever you're creating an e-commerce store. They've got a whole bunch of different apps and tools. At one point, actually, we created our own Shopify, not Wix. We created our own Shopify store, and it's called Habanco, and we actually sold it. It was an e-commerce knife site, and we used software tools such as Oberlo to automate our fulfillment processes, so we could just focus on the marketing. Shopify is just a cash cow. It is definitely the answer to look for when actually going in and creating an e-commerce store quickly, efficiently. If you actually Google Shopify support right now, you'll notice my company actually comes up on the first page for Shopify support. That's something I felt it was important for us to rank for, because we like the platform so much. And I've been on actually a Shopify article as well, talking about how awesome it is.
So what's next for Logic Inbound and yourself? I mean, is there anything else you can share with us today?
Yeah, sure. Basically, what's next for us, honestly, Logic Inbound is really inbound marketing. So we're continuing to build out our internal software tools to help us serve our clients better and to give us a huge competitive advantage against these other agencies. So it's really continuing to do that. Anything else I'd like to share is, if you're a startup co-founder out there, you want to talk to other co-founders, venture capitalists, et cetera, right? I would definitely recommend you check out Cofounders Connect. We're quickly growing in Seattle. And we do monthly events also. My last event actually was a serial entrepreneur panel, where the most inexperienced serial entrepreneur had 4 exits, and had 4 people on there. It was fantastic. So if you want to connect to other very successful business people, check that out. And then the other thing I'd say, is always feel free to ask me any questions. So
Well, I'll add those links to the show notes just so people can find that nice and easily. But before I do let you go, could I just ask you to point them in the direction of where they can find you guys online, Logic Inbound, and also contact a member of your team if they do have any questions?
Yeah, you can feel free to email me personally. It's Vlad, VLAD, at logicinbound.com. If you have any questions, and then you can always find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. I'm all over the place. If you can find my phone number some places, it's probably out there. I don't know if it will be for long, but you can even find my phone number and text me. But yeah, I'm out there. If anybody needs anything from me, I'm always happy to help. Every Wednesday, I actually do from 2:30 to 3 p.m. every Wednesday, community service hours, and I just have open office hours to help people.
Fantastic. That's what really stands out for me, because you've got this inspiring startup story that began when you were only 19. But it's not just about you and you getting to that 7-figure business goal that you're aiming for there, but it's about running different meetups. I mean, you said you run 5 different ones there, and spend your free time doing what you love most, connecting people and giving a bit back. And that is what it's all about. So
definitely.
A big thank you for coming on and sharing that story today.
My pleasure, Neil. Thank you so much. And I think really that's also, I guess maybe, not to say secrets, it's for lack of a better term, but one of my keys to success was realizing, especially if you're going to be a CEO or a co-founder of a company, it's never about you, even in business. It's always about the other people and how you can give value to them, and it will return. So thank you.
What a great story. And once again, Vlad is one of those guys I just could have talked to for hours, and will certainly be hooking up for a beer or a coffee with him if I ever make it over to Seattle. Because for me, this conversation had it all. We had the inspirational startup story, we got giving back to the community and helping others, and also inspiring other startup leaders along the way too. And if that's not enough, it got washed down with a few Bruce Lee quotes too. But seriously, what did you think of today's conversation? Did it leave you with any questions, any opinions, or any experiences that you'd like to share with me? As always, my door is always open to each and every one of you. Like Vlad, I think it's all about engaging with each other and helping each other on our own little journeys. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. So I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did. But before I go, I just want to say a big heartfelt thanks for taking the time to tune into this show every single day. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.